Hello and welcome to today's video. So, I'm not going to have sunshine for another 4 days, which means I needed to do a video that does not require sunshine shots. So I have decided I will do a staining experiment. I do have several polishes that stain my nails. However, I recently swatched a polish that stained me extremely badly, probably the worst staining I have ever had. I think I had that staining for 2.5 weeks, maybe 3. It was quite a while. So now I have a very bad stainer and several moderate ones. And when I wore the terrible stainer for the first time, I was just using my regular Glisten and Glow sticky base, which does not purport to necessarily prevent staining. So I am going to apply different bases and different numbers of layers of base coat on each finger to see if I can mitigate this staining. I'll only be using the really bad stainer on my dominant hand in case it really messes me up again. That way at least I still have my left hand to do other swatches with. But I'm not going to do any more than 2 coats for any given base combination because in real life, I'm just not putting on 3 coats of base. I'm just never going to do that. I know myself and I will not do it. I wanted to run an experiment where I could reasonably use the experiment results in real life. On my pinkies, I'm going to put 2 coats of the Glisten and Glow sticky base to see if just putting 2 coats on could have mitigated. On my ring finger, I'll put on 2 coats of Cuticula's Mic Drop, which is a milky base. On my middle finger, I'm going to do Glisten and Glow Sticky for 1 coat, and then use their ridge filler on top of that. On my index finger, I'm going to put on 1 layer of my Starrily stain preventing base coat. I believe it's called Guardian. And on my thumb, I'm going to use 2 coats of that Starrily stain preventing base. This is in the desperate hope that I can keep my thumbs from staining. I will put on 3 coats of the 2 offending polishes, and I will wear them for at least 24 hours. I'll try to go longer, but I'm worried about time restrictions. I've painted them on Friday morning. I'll have to take them off Saturday night. That really only leaves Sunday to complete the entire video. Not great. Hopefully I can get that done. I'm going to do the same procedure on both hands, except for, of course, which polish I put on. And I'm going to apply 3 coats of each in the hope of getting enough pigment on there for this to be a reasonable experiment. For my left hand, I'll be putting on Cupcake Polish's Eldhraun. This does tend to stain me on every part of the nail. It's a full nail plate staining, and it's sort of a yellowish green color. It's not all that bright a stain, and it only lasts for a few days. It's not that bad. But I call it moderate because it will do the entire nail plate, and it does stick around for a few days. On my right hand, I will be applying All My Life I Have Been Selfish. That is the polish that turned me bright pink. When I remove the polish, I'm going to be very careful to soak each nail separately and then drag the cotton ball off the end of the nail, hopefully getting just about all the polish with it. I'm trying to prevent laying down pigment after the fact by scrubbing around randomly. In the meantime, I think you have been, first of all, watching me wiggle my bare nails around because we all need some proof of what they looked like before the experiment began. And then I began applying all of the base coats. Sorry, I missed my ring finger in terms of recording the first time around, but I got it on the second pass. Oops. You'll be able to see that the tips of my fingernails are more yellow than they are at the cuticle line, just from regular polish wear. No particular polish causes this type of yellowing. I chose these 2 particular polishes because they stain 2 different colors, so I'm pretty sure it's not the same pigment causing the problem. And they stain at 2 different severities, so that if it is effective for a moderate stainer, hopefully we will see the difference. I think I skipped showing you that I applied the polish itself because I was worried about the video getting a bit too long. But I will ask you to trust me that I put on 3 coats of each polish on every single nail, on the appropriate hands. Every nail was topped off with Glisten and Glow Clear, Shiny, and Fast Drying top coat. I did do my best to make sure conditions for each nail were the same, but for the base coats. Once I completed the base coats, I left it for 20 minutes to dry. I wanted to really make sure they were completely dry before I applied the polish. I was doing my best not to peel up the base coats when I actually applied the polishes, and it didn't seem like that was happening. I didn't notice any of the base coats moving. Okay, we're back, and it's been about a day and 6 hours, so about 30 hours. I took this off at around 7 p.m. on the night of the next day, and I'd finished my manicure somewhere around noon on the previous day. Because I'm dealing with acetone, you get my silicone mat to look at, which is dirty, of course, because that's what it's for. I am demonstrating how I removed each finger of nail polish. I would gently scrub to get through the top coat a little bit, and then I would hold the acetone saturated cotton pad onto that finger for about a minute. And when that minute was up, I could just slide it off the end and most of the nail polish would come with it. And then I could flip over the cotton pad to the clean side, which still had acetone, and just scrub off any little bits and bobs that got stuck and didn't come with the initial swipe. And I tried to scrub really thoroughly because I just wanted to make sure I got off any loose pigment, and anything we were left seeing was definitely a stain on the nail and not just poor removal. So you might notice I started with my index finger. That's because when nobody's watching, that's what I do. I take off the polish from the fingers that are most likely to end up with cotton balls stuck to them if I don't remove them first. So index finger, middle finger, thumb tends to be the three I remove first. Obviously for this purpose, maybe I didn't need to do that in that order, but here we are. And what I noticed when I removed it, that was the finger with one coat of Starrily's Guardian on it. For the green polish, it did a pretty darn good job of preventing staining. Actually, everything on this hand did a pretty darn good job of preventing staining. I felt like I saw a tiny amount of green tint closer to the ends of my fingernails. There will be a comparison where you can see the full hands before and after to compare what my nails look like. The lesson here for me seems to be just wear 2 coats of any base with a polish with this level of staining, and it will prevent the staining. Now, in the case of that pink one, when I wore it the first time, I had no idea it was going to stain that badly, so obviously I didn't have any knowledge of what I might do to prevent that because I didn't know I needed to. But now that I know... Okay, now we've moved over to the right hand and the very serious pink stainer, and we have a bit of a different result. You can see that nothing fared all that well. Nothing completely prevented the pink staining. However, we did have some clear standouts. 2 coats of Starrily's Guardian on my thumb was absolutely the best result. It prevented a lot of that pink staining. On my index finger, you'll notice it's quite pink. That was only 1 coat of Starrily's Guardian. So 1 coat was not sufficient. That leads me to think 1 coat of anything is insufficient. On my middle finger was 1 coat of Glisten & Glow's Sticky Base with a coat of the Ridge Filler as well. It did not fare particularly well. I could not recommend using this combination to try to prevent really bad staining. On my ring finger, I put on 2 coats of Cuticula's Mic Drop Milky Base. It did not fare all that well. I had quite a bit of staining on that finger, and I could not recommend this for anyone wishing to prevent the stains of a very determined polish. But on my pinky were 2 coats of Glisten & Glow's Sticky Base, which is my normal sticky base coat that I wear on all my swatches. And it performed pretty darn well. I would give it the 2nd place after Starrily's Guardian 2 coats. I was kind of surprised by this result. I really didn't think that 2 coats of the sticky base would, to be honest, perform all that well. And yet, here they are. I am pretty close to the end of my Starrily Guardian base coat. I've had it for about, maybe even 8 years. But I will certainly be buying a replacement bottle when this one runs out because it was extremely effective. And I'll leave you here with all of my various before and after wiggling shots. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that I can harness the rage of my tiny red squirrel and power the entire world with free energy. Please enjoy a clip of my red squirrel displaying the power of her rage. Little red squirrel, are you angry at everyone? You're always angry at everyone. Oh, angry red squirrely, you're my favorite squirrely. Don't tell the other squirrelies.